Hello. That's how we're going to do the show all night. Just kidding.
That would work. How you doing, bud?
Well, I'm doing okay. Been a busy month. If you haven't noticed, haven't been on many other streams. But it's been good. Things have been going well. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Decided I was going to stream from a new place in the house, so I'm all by myself down here. So,
well, this was the original planned location since the very beginning of the show, correct?
Yeah, but I didn't think it would work down here, and finally I just figured, fuck it, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. So if it fucks up, people, I'm sorry.
I like it. I do. And glad you're down there. We got some
fighting off spiders here, so.
Well, that's going to happen in the basement.
Well, yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I mean, you probably do if you read the description. We're doing the Jaws franchise tonight. This was a special request by a couple people in our first season in the chat, and one of them is a surprise guest tonight. Does that blow it at all, or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So should be fun. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah. What
you
else?
Didn't have time to make a little drawing of this person, did you?
I did not.
Oh, darn it.
But, I've got a temporary substitution for now.
Okay. I'm scared, and they should be too.
They should be, but it's not that bad. We do have a couple of those entrants waiting in the wings, and hopefully a couple more will be joining us. So whenever you are ready, sir,
I'll go ahead and bring them on here. We'll save the new person for last.
Okay.
All right. So first up, got our good buddy Orc.
Hey, you can call me Brandy. How's it going?
Or Brandy.
Hey. How's it going, guys?
Not too shabby, Orc.
What's up, homies?
Oh.
Oh.
So respectful, Orc. So respectful.
I do what I can.
Real talk.
Real talk.
Glad to have you back as always.
Good to be here.
I think we missed you on the last one.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I probably overslept. But can't think of a place I'd rather be right now, than on the Horror Rumble.
Right
over the top
right
rope.
All right. So are we ready for this new person to make their debut?
Brand. Oh. Yes, we are.
All right. This is Cassie. No, I am not related to Freddy Krueger.
Thanks a lot, Kory.
Or Mike Krueger, for that matter, in Flesh Wound Features. So
yeah, that too.
That we know of.
No, not at all.
Well, welcome, Cassie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us. And you were one of the people that recommended this last season. And I said when we'll definitely be doing that. And here we are.
Now, just a fun little fact. Cassie did go to high school with Jess and I.
And that's enough. That's all we need to talk about for high school.
I know. I was like, does she even want that out there?
It's good. It's good.
I mean, that's enough about high school.
There we go.
Yeah, we're done.
I'm with you.
We're in our 40s. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
All right, fine.
Let's give some shout outs in the chat.
Yeah.
We got Bunny Army 101. We got Slasher Home Video. I think Chris, welcome. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. A fellow nominee this month for Horror YouTuber of the Month. Get out there and vote for honestly any of these awesome channels that are nominated.
translation, that means vote for us.
Our good buddy Sean McManus. I don't have Steak here to do that voice, but
damn you, Steak.
And Miss Jessica, thank you for coming. Am I missing anybody else here? Oh,
yes.
The Mr. one Daniel and only. Shine. The one and only. He's unable to join us tonight. He will be missed, but thanks for showing up in the chat, Dan.
What's up, everybody? And yes, I am hiding out in a scary basement tonight. So it was this to deal with my family. So I chose the scary basement.
Probably the safer bet. Hi, Blu-rays.
Speaking of my family.
And head lead animator.
Yes.
Over here, Cable Channel 11. If you enjoyed that opening. Oh, Sean, thank you. Sean did vote for us. Way to go.
Thank you, Sean.
And hello, Cassie from Sean. And Bunny.
Well, hello there.
Well, should we dive right into it and hopefully oh, well, here's a note right now. Somebody.
Yeah.
Kory was supposed to be here as well. Obviously, something came up. We understand, buddy. Thank you for letting us know.
You'll be missed, Kory.
Definitely missed. Dying Breed, Mikey. You're a sexy son of a bitch yourself. Alrighty.
See, sometimes I think he means you and Orc and that. So
he probably does, but I wasn't gonna say that, Kory.
He likes to refer to me as Kenny G. So. So, all right. Yes, the first Jaws movie. So here's a fun fact that has nothing to do with anybody in high school. This is the first time I've seen any of these movies.
Even the original?
Even the original. I did not want to see these movies. I hate nature. I hate documentaries about nature. I hate anything that has to do with fish. I hate fishing. I am a very, very non-outdoorsy person. I like if I go outdoors, it's to play baseball or hockey or something along those lines. Anyway, so I wanted nothing to do with the Jaws movies because it's fish and fish are boring. And then you told me that we needed to do the Jaws franchise in July, so I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna have to break down and watch these. And I was pleasantly surprised with this first one. Absolutely love the first one. It was nothing like what I thought it was going to be. Basically, I thought it was going to be like Shark Week on Discovery Channel. Fuck the Discovery Channel. I hate the Discovery Channel. But this was not that. So I absolutely enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun. And I believe my oldest daughter actually, when I told her I had to watch this, she's like, "You haven't seen it yet, Dad?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Well, I have to watch it with you." And she doesn't get into scary movies very often, so she actually sat down and watched the first one with me. So that was a lot of fun for me. So,
well, I failed to mention that. I mean, that movie did spawn off a franchise. Video games, I'm sure, books, rip-offs, spin-offs.
Oh, yeah, there's about 50 of them out at Walmart right now.
Yeah, and we're not going to get into those. We're sticking to the four main movies of the franchise, but they do need an honorable mention. I know Jake would be upset if Cruel Jaws wasn't mentioned. I mean, you got the NES video game. That'd be great, Christian.
That'd be awesome, Christian.
Yeah, so... It's iconic. Now, is that your main thoughts on the first one?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much more to be said.
Not really. I mean, anybody that's actually seen the movie already knows that it's the first one's great. They tend to repeat a lot of shit in the rest of them. So,
well, I think the first one
set the tone for everything. I mean, that first 5 minutes of the first Jaws movie is absolutely it reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock, where you don't actually see the attack, right? And the teeth and everything else. You see it from the point of the view of the killer from underneath the water, watching her swim, and then you go back up to the surface, and she's swimming there, and all of a sudden she gets pulled down once, then twice, then she starts screaming, and then she's under, and then back up, and she's going for a ride, and that's it, and she's done. And it always reminded me of Alfred Hitchcock in movies like Psycho, where you didn't actually see it, but you saw the blood running down the drain. So I think doing that in those first few minutes just caught everybody's attention right out the gate. And I watched it on the big screen. I think when they did the 40th anniversary and they re-released it. So watching it from that point of view versus watching it on, to age me, video cassette or on just regular TV with commercials and editing was a completely different thing. And I think those first few minutes really captured the audience, and that's what started the whole franchise. If they had done it any other way, I don't think that if you would have seen the shark actually attacking from a third person point of view, I don't think it would have gained as much momentum or an entire franchise.
Everything Cassie just said.
Agreed. In fact, that's like half of my notes about the first one too. Seriously,
I'm sorry. I did have one more note.
Okay.
And something Cassie had talked about the first 5 minutes of the movie. Well, there's something in the first 5 minutes of the movie that you get a little bit of, but you don't get it in like the other movies, or I believe the rest of the first one. Need more boobies.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think so. You have other franchises, they have the boobies and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But that has absolutely nothing to do with anything because they're not really selling sex.
Well, that's
all
fine.
Right.
Yeah, and I enjoy them
too.
They weren't selling sex.
But they weren't really selling sex in any of these, really.
No.
In any of the movies. I mean, the very, very little bit of sex that they would have in these movies, it was very tastefully done, and it was just a part of life. It wasn't some sort of side story.
Yeah, it wasn't just gratuitous sex scenes. Yep.
Yes.
Thanks for backing me up there, Jess.
I mean, you know me out of anybody. I enjoy a good nude scene, some boobies. But she's right. This movie really doesn't call for that. I mean, there's some sexiness within the beach itself, and that's enough. I think, like you said, what's there is enough.
I mean, yes, the girl was going out skinny dipping with the other guy who was drunk and couldn't even get his clothes off and passed out on the beach. Thank you, Orc. And
you're welcome.
But that I mean, all that taught us was don't go skinny dipping in the dark, because if you're gonna go skinny dipping in the dark in the ocean, you're gonna get eaten by a shark. That's the only thing it taught us.
All right, fine, but I do agree with you on everything you said, though. I didn't actually stop to think about Alfred Hitchcock or any of that, but I do see that now that it's been pointed out. So.
And some of the other things just in the first movie that when the guys are actually out on the boat, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the ship captain, the scary guy who knows everything about sharks, when he starts talking about the USS Indianapolis, that was real. That actually happened. His facts were off in the story that he did, but that was actually all true. And it kind of put you at ease for a while, even though the story was scary. It was like, okay, it's kind of boring. Nothing's going to really happen or anything. And then the next thing you know, things are going out of control.
Hey, we got one of our guests just joined us here. You ready, Jess?
I think I'm ready.
It's my name twin.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Kory?
2 Korys tonight.
Yo, Kory.
I was able to pass on my stuff to someone else. So
Awesome. That is always nice.
We're glad you're here, bud.
yeah, it's good to be here.
Since we're on a beat of you just coming in, we'll catch up with the chat. Billy Bean, thanks for joining us. Big T, hello. Oh yes. And you weren't the only one. Jessica said she hadn't seen them yet either, Kory. So,
well, I'm glad I'm not alone in that.
Sean McManus, Deep Blue Sea. I think that would have been a perfect Jaws 5. A little tweaking and title change would have been fantastic. Blu-rays agrees, likes the comparison you made, Cassie.
Of course.
Sean, Spielberg using the camera as the shark's POV because the shark didn't work was so clever. The scene with Quint telling, that's Quint. It's Quint, it's a name. The story of the USS. Yeah. Why he hates sharks. It is amazing.
Well, yeah, I gave you a really in-depth look into him, and the sharks were his enemy. They were his nemesis, and that was his life goal, really. And unfortunately, he didn't overcome his nemesis by any means, but he fought to the bitter end.
I like the sea shanties.
And yes, Mikey. Oh, Billy. Sorry, I'm scanning the chat. Still, after a year, haven't got the complete hang of it. Josh just taught me to stay away from the ocean. Monsters living there. In a lot of ways, it did scare people from swimming in there. And if you do swim in it, I at least think twice when I'm getting in that, yeah, Jaws could come up and bite my leg.
Well, you can. And honestly, you think about this. It was released in 1975. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, Shark Week or anything like that to educate us. You would just have books, teachers, that sort of thing. It wasn't that there was no mainstream for that sort of thing. So anything underwater to your audience is a complete mystery. Because I grew up partially in Nebraska and then partially in Iowa, and we didn't have an ocean nearby. And obviously in Iowa, we got the Mississippi River, big deal. Comparing to the ocean, it's a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't know that. And I'll be perfectly honest. The first Jaws movie I actually saw wasn't until the third movie when it was in 3D, and I saw that in the theaters. I was about 4 or 5. My mom took me. And I don't want to hear anything about parents taking their kids to see movies when they're that low. I've been watching this crap my entire life, and I think it made things better for me to separate real from fantasy. But when I went to see that, then a couple of years later, the third one is set at SeaWorld. A couple of years later, I'm down in Florida with my dad. We're going to SeaWorld, and we're going through that underground or underwater tunnel. I'm waiting to see the shark attack. I'm wanting to come up. And... I'm like, hey, let's have this happen. But no, anything under the water though at the time, that wasn't widely known like things are today.
No, it wasn't. And would you guys say this is Spielberg's best film, Sean? No. There's several that I have more, attachment to. I love Jaws. Jaws is fantastic. It's a masterpiece, but Jurassic Park is better to me.
You like that Mac and Me ripoff, don't you?
Schindler's List. He didn't do Mac and Me, did
Schindler's List.
I
for
said
me
the
is his
ripoff.
best, but
Yeah, it's he's got so many good ones. It is hard to say. And like Cassie was saying, for me, the actual first time would have been in, and a lot of my first movies are in the living room with my parents. It was either on TV or a VHS rental. I would love to see it in theaters. Haven't gotten to. The opening scene, like I said, Cassie's notes they're mostly mine too. As a little kid sitting on the floor, that had me attached to the screen. You know, I was glued the whole movie. Now, at the end of the movie, as a little kid, I was like, I wanted to see more of the shark. Oh, the middle part, you know, I took all the whole movie to see the shark. But as I got older, obviously that's a great thing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and honestly, I mean, you have to think. I mean, well, like you said, I mean, the shark didn't work, you know, for the most of the movie. So when they put it at, you know, towards the end there, and you got, I mean, they were lucky, I think, to have that much working.
Exactly.
But budgets aren't like what they are today for movies back then. So.
Well, Orc, see you typing away in the chat. Thoughts on the first Jaws movie?
What up, homie? So this is a nice edition. Bam. Yeah, Blu-ray. Which has the, what is it? The shark is still working that Cassie was just talking about. Yeah, pretty good documentary. The first film is probably my favorite summertime film of all time. It edges out and beats Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know, that's because I've lived near the ocean for half of my life at least. But yeah, I think it's great, and it's definitely a horror film. People who don't call it so have never been out on the ocean, or at least have never been near anything that's terrifying, or maybe to an aquarium. Yeah, probably my favorite quote is the dinner scene that you guys were talking about. But when he goes, when those black eyes roll over white, lifeless eyes like a doll's eyes, ragdoll. I forgot how it goes exactly, but yeah, it's the three main characters have really good interaction. I forgot their names, the real actors' names.
We got Richard Dreyfuss in there for sure.
Oh yeah.
Sheriff Brody, who's God, why am I saying
Rob
Schreider?
Schreider, yes.
And then Quinn
Shaw, Robert Shaw.
Yes, Shaw. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. It's just it's a horror film that's mixed with adventure. First, they get messed up and fucked up by the shark, and then they have to go out and hunt it. And I like that there's a big bounty on the shark's head, and it's really cool. I could add more to what's going to be said tonight, but I think you guys will discuss it and explain it better than I will. So yeah.
You sure you don't want to try?
Okay. Let me see. Easily the best out of all four. I don't know do you want to rank at the end or no?
No, that's fine. I was gonna sort of say a ranking at some point, but yeah, I don't think they could ever top this original movie. I mean, as with many movies, originals, it's that time period. It was just the perfect. It caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I'm glad it invented the summer blockbuster, or made it popular at least. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'd say along with Halloween, easily the best score for a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
With the piano, both of them had pianos.
Fucking John Williams, man.
Yeah, and his score as well. True. What else? Yeah, and it'll make you definitely think twice about swimming in the ocean. Even going into a lake is a little bit terrifying. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Kory. thoughts?
Well, movies for me are hard. When you always get the question, what's your favorite movie? And it's so hard when a lot of us have seen so many movies. But if I'm always said gun to your head, what's your favorite movie? Jaws is my answer typically. It's one of those movies. I think we all have movies where we're not so much flipping channels anymore, but back in the day when you were flipping channels and if Jaws was on, I always stopped on it and wherever it was and it just finished it. It was one that I just couldn't leave once I had it on the TV. And, I don't know if any of you guys mentioned, someone mentioned Shark Week. I don't think Shark Week would exist without this movie. I don't think there would be that infatuation with sharks.
No, not at all.
So, most everything else you guys have all said, but the one thing I wanted to say about Quint, Hooper, and Brody is there's almost once they're all together on the boat, there's almost not in the same way, but like a Three Stooges quality with those three. They like play off each other so well, comedy wise, like drama wise, horror wise. So they're a really great pairing. One of the best kind of pairings of three guys in any movie that I can think of. So,
real quick, Kory, I gotta interact. One of my favorite lines in the movie is when he asks him to tie a rope, like to tie a knot in the rope, and he says, "You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. You've been counting money your whole life." I love that fucking line.
There's one part I remember as a kid, actually two parts, that I remember like just kind of gearing myself up for when they were coming. Was the first one was when they're out there checking on those guys that they never came in from fishing, and I think it's Hooper. He's down underwater and he pulls this tooth out of the boat, and then this head comes out right at him. I always had to gear myself up for that. And also when they're in like the town hall meeting and Quint rakes his fingernails across the chalkboard. I always had to kind of prepare for that. But just a great movie. Again, like I said, if someone asks, typically Jaws is my answer for favorite movie of all time. So
I almost completely forgot about that. The scene you were just talking about, not the nails on the chalkboard scene, the other one. I normally don't jump when at movies and stuff. That actually made me jump.
Right.
So just the head kind of coming out there. So yeah, even I jumped on that one.
Well, Sean's top three Spielberg's includes Jaws, of course, Raiders, and Close Encounters. Yeah, all three great movies.
Yep.
Billy Bean has a story. When his dad was in the Navy, when Jaws came out, so they were always near the ocean until he retired. That was around Jaws 3. And then they headed to Arizona, and he's been leery of the beach since, it sounds like.
I will say this, Jaws. The second Jaws movie.
Well, hold on. Are we jumping? Are we jumping into 2 yet?
We will here in a second.
Okay.
Kid gets killed by the So is that everybody's? I mean, I have nothing too much else to say on Jaws 1. You've all said it. I mean, we're not here talking the making of. It's just Kory.
No, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. But yeah, if you guys are ready, we can go ahead and jump into 2. We got anything going on in the chat right now?
I don't think everybody gave their opinions there that are shouting them out.
All right.
Oh, Sean says people do forget Jaws is very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's humor. I mean, Greatest of Horror has humor for sure.
I liked the little songs they were singing on the boat. So
that I have a quick funny story about that. I mean, it was not that funny. I guess you had to be there type of story. But okay, we'll take Jaws 2 off. We're not quite there yet. We filmed a short film called Time, or T is for Time, for the ABC's of Death contest. We got top 10, long story short. Well, most of that movie takes place, this guy's trapped underwater in a cave, scuba diver. And so we're out on a boat shooting, and we went out there on like it's a 40-foot Catalina, so a small but decent-sized sailboat in the ocean, and we're in the middle of the night. The director, I'm producing, and this other producer, Scott Hansen, he actually did the Possession Experiment, and Bad Candy director. We're all three drinking tequila, that of course I supply as the producer, all the way out to the Anacapa Islands, and it's a 3-hour tour at night. We're drinking tequila and we're pounding, singing the song, "Show me the way to go home." Boom. So
I thought it was row your boat.
No.
I'm pretty sure it is.
No.
What were you watching?
I'll bet you $5 it was row your boat.
Well, they might have had a row your boat moment, but that's the song that everybody else knows, Kory.
Okay, fine.
Jaws 2.
One thing real quick, Jess,
Okay. Yeah.
I did want to mention, we were talking about them singing in the boat, as another scene or another part of that that's, I feel like it's been ripped off a few times in other movies, is the injury comparison that they do with each other.
Oh yeah.
I think that was in like Chasing Amy maybe, and maybe another movie, but yeah, that just wanted to mention that.
No, good one. All right.
Anyway, back to what Jess was saying though. If you've never seen those, go check them out. It was what did you say it was? It was T is for Time.
T is for Time, or
is that website still up, or
you can go to my Jess Graham page and find a link under my playlist. It's my not cable channel 11, but just Jess Graham, and there's a link there.
It's actually a really good short.
4 minutes.
Yeah,
some great underwater shots.
Maybe one day,
thank you,
Jess
Kory.
will give you guys a little behind the scenes story on some of that stuff. So
there's a few.
All right. Jaws 2. I actually enjoyed this one too. It was seemed more like an 80s slasher movie, I guess, to me, but because of the teenagers and then being basically stuck on these boats and whatnot. But it was a good movie. You guys kept saying, I think you guys said the guy's name was Rob Schreider. It's Roy Schreiber or whatever. But I loved this guy in that character. He was great. For a first time watching these movies, I'm seriously not trying to sit there and dissect them or analyze them or anything else. I'm just trying to sit back and enjoy them. And as long as I was being entertained, I was happy. So these first two movies did that. So.
Well, and
Jess.
what I was going to say earlier was with Jaws 2, instead of recasting Richard Dreyfuss's role, because I think he was unavailable to actually be in the second movie. They just wrote him out instead of trying to recast him with somebody else, going back to the whole pairing of those three men. Obviously, the one character's dead, so we couldn't bring back Richard Dreyfuss because he was unavailable. So they didn't even bother to do that. They just wrote him out. But then they still but they didn't really recast anything except for the Michael and Sean, because they had gotten older. So they didn't try to recast or anything like that. They didn't change, Mrs. Brody or anybody. They stuck with it. And later when, and in the other movies, they didn't stray from that. Dad died. Mom was in the fourth. I think they did a really good job of sticking with that, the original cast as best they could.
I always appreciate it when they do that for sequels.
Yes, especially in the first, second, and fourth movie. The third movie's obviously way off of everything, but they didn't try and recast. They didn't try and completely change up the whole thing. They didn't change the town. It's still the greedy shop owners and mayor who don't want to have lose money from the summer people.
Yep.
So the storyline is still very similar between the first two movies, and you still have that small town life feel to it, that this could happen anywhere, on the coast.
Any little Amity Island area. Could happen in Orc's hometown.
Just want to interject here and say that Jess may be right, but I'm blaming this whole thing on a Mandela effect. I swear to God that the song was "Row, Row, Row Your Boat."
You just watched these movies probably more recent than any of us.
On T is for Time?
Oh,
I actually happened
we were
to
talking
watch
about the song on Jaws 1.
yesterday.
Okay. See, I was talking about T is for Time.
Oh.
That confused everybody. Yes, I think there.
Yeah.
Row, Row, Row Your Boat was sung on that. T is for Time. Did you just keep switching the comment? Bringing up Sean's.
Accidentally, I was trying to. But the other one was Sean's too.
Well, Sean just saying Jaws 2 is the best of the sequels in his opinion, and I think I'll bet you most of us would agree with that. I mean, it's far inferior to the original, but a worthy sequel. And again, this one I saw in my parents' living room.
I think the best hook. The best hook they had was to put Brody's children in danger, which that was the only thing that was going to keep that hook, no pun intended, in for the audience. Otherwise, it was just basically the same story. So they had to get the children involved.
That's right, and those children did continue, which we'll get into in the sequels, and they change actors each time. But I think that's one of the exceptions that's almost okay, because not all child actors can transition into Dennis Quaid played one of the Brody children, I think, in part 3.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here, Jess.
I am getting ahead of ourselves. I won't get any further ahead.
This is the most scuffed producing I've seen in my life.
Wait, what are you? This show, Time, Jaws 2, what?
What do we got there, Kory, with a K?
Dr. Pepper cream soda.
Ooh.
Switching it up from my Mountain Dew.
And Ben says maybe because he never watched Jaws until a couple of years ago, he finds it a little bit overrated. It's good, but I wouldn't think of it when listing top horror of all time. I can understand that.
I think there's an argument to be made that is it horror or not, partially, because there is crosses so many genre lines, honestly.
And I can end that argument easily.
Yeah, a lot of people could say it's an adventure movie, kind of,
Or just pure action, and I can end that argument so easily. Just go take a swim in the Atlantic or the Pacific.
Right.
Or the Gulf of Mexico.
Drama, subgenre,
it's
horror,
just
thriller.
It's a suspense.
Suspense, yes.
Yeah,
and again, you mentioned earlier, first summer blockbuster, which are not normally horror films.
Right.
No. Well, and I say, obviously Ben thinks that, it's overrated, but has not taken into context, I think, when it was actually released. Because when it was actually released, these were huge things that they were trying to do at the time. It's, kind of goes off with, the first Star Wars movie that was made. They're blowing up a planet. It's because, it's all these things that they could actually do that they weren't doing in movies until, Spielberg, made this shark and did this movie. I mean, because the book, I've never read the book, but from what I understand, the book is a lot more graphic. But I think the lack of graphic in the first two movies actually helps it quite a bit. And so it might not be a horror movie. It might not be everybody's favorite of all time, but it's got I think you have to just take into account what was going on at the time period, too.
I think also part of Ben's problem is he's from Oklahoma, so he's shivering under the covers when he's watching Twister, probably. So, if I had to guess.
Another great movie, though.
That's all right, Ben. We got children in our corn, so we'll get to that eventually.
I've lived through tornadoes too. No, but the second movie, I think it did very well. I think it was when ranking all four, that was definitely, because it's not just because it's number 2, but I think it should be ranked second because I think it stayed so close to the original storyline, and they killed him. They killed the shark in a completely different way this time, which I thought was cool. I mean, and it's very cool. It's very cool to, sit there and watch something and go, holy crap, I can't believe he did it that way instead of this way or whatever. So, and honestly, I'm amazed that all those kids actually lived.
Yeah. I think that might
because
be
a lot
the
of them
big
were
beach scene,
dumbasses.
or they're all running out.
Mhm.
That was in 2, right? Yeah.
No, that was 1 and 2.
They both have a scene like that, but
Yeah.
That I think in part 2 felt so much like part 1 that
Mhm. Yeah.
locks it in as the best sequel.
I do want to bring up the fact, what was the younger brother's name? Sean?
Yes.
Okay. That kid should be traumatized for the rest of his life. Seeing the one girl that was on the boat with him get ate. That kid should be in therapy for like ever.
Well, they didn't address mental health issues like that in the 70s and 80s.
I'm just saying it. Come on.
You just deal with it, man.
They told him just smoke a cigarette.
Corn children are very scary. Slasher home video. Yes.
Yes.
He agrees. Cheers, Orc.
I got you, homie.
Did you talk about 2 yet? What are your thoughts on 2? Oh, we got some real talks right there.
Real talk. Yeah.
Got some Orc Zero going on over there.
Orc Zero.
Yep.
We need a
Orc
soda.
Zero.
Soda called Orc Zero.
Watching my calories, gaining weight. Thoughts on 2. Easily the best sequel. Really good slasher movie if you think about it. In some sort of way that relates to like slasher films. Yeah. I don't remember 2, 3, and 4 as well, but I've seen them all a few times, but it's been a little while. Yeah, I like it. Good stuff.
Cool. Smory from Coors and Brewers.
Well, Jaws 2, I think, as best my memory serves me, is the first movie I ever remember watching. We had Showtime or something when I was really young, and it was on there like constantly, post theater, way back in the day, probably 79. And so obviously I saw that before I saw Jaws, and not too long after that, I'm sure. To me, when it comes to horror, and if you're talking about the sequel that immediately follows an original, Psycho 2 for me is the best. Jaws 2 is probably second. I like it that much. I think there's some progression in Brody's character. In the first movie he was terrified of the water. Now he's more comfortable on the water, and that kind of shows when he goes out to save the kids. And like it was mentioned, he finds a different way to take out the shark this time. And I think it loses a little charm from the original because some of those characters aren't there. But it is very solid. So,
yeah,
I did like how he's in the second one kind of goes a little more crazy.
Yeah,
like because he's the first one to realize that it is a shark again, and
Right.
But I did like how he ended up going a little more crazy in the second one.
Yeah.
So, are we on to Jaws 3, or does anybody else have anything? Cassie?
Final
I
thoughts
just
on
wanted
two?
to say one thing, and I think in the first two, and really in any of, they really didn't go into a whole lot of backstory on all of the characters. They didn't waste a bunch of time, and why is Brody moved from New York City to Amity to be just a local chief, and and they don't go into all that or anything else. And I think in movies today they do this whole thing on backstories, and it's just too much information that isn't needed. And I think that's also what helps it move along. They go right into people are getting killed by sharks. We got to do something about it. We're not messing around with all the other crap. Yeah, he's got some. He's uncomfortable with the water, but you know what? He's going to have to deal with it because he's got a bigger problem.
If it was there, they mentioned it. They didn't drag it on, building it up. It was just went to it. I think I appreciated that as a youngster too. That we're just right into it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish more movies today would do that. Honestly, there are many movies out there that it's just like 90 minutes, guys. Leave me wanting more rather than me. What time do I get out of here?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot lately. I don't need a 2.5 hour epic for every movie we watch.
Yeah, that shit really gets old for me as well. Like, because I get tired really, really fast. and every movie is 2.5, 3 hours, if not longer. I'm just like, it's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
It's not the attention span. I can't fucking do it.
Well, too much backstory in any movie could be bad. I mean, if there was less backstory in the Friday the 13th remake, I probably would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more than I did.
Well,
I didn't need to know that
remake.
Jason had, tunnels underground. Fuck the Halloween remake.
No, but that's what I mean. That Halloween remake, that was all backstory, and it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't need to see that. And we actually we did the Halloween franchise, and I kind of went off on it, and I don't find what Rob Zombie did in that movie scary. I don't. I think I even posed the question during that show: what's more scary? Some kid from a broken family who gets treated like shit every day of his life, going around killing people, or some kid from a blue collar family or a white collar family just out of nowhere killing his sister.
Yeah.
We discussed
Rob
that.
Zombie's Halloween films make me feel terrible to be Caucasian. They're the only movies to do that.
No, Sean, no.
Yes, Sean. Yes, he loves it. He loves it.
No. All right.
We'll do a watch along for that one.
Orcs Life
I think
Matters.
we're supposed to do that on Jake's channel.
What, Kory?
I said Orcs Life Matters. Okay.
Hell yeah, dude. That's me.
That's
me. I like how you can hold your cup back behind you like that.
Hey, that's better than what he did with Christian.
I tried.
Christian. He's got a rash or something. He's scratching his ass.
I fixed Lauren's proportions a little bit. Maybe I didn't. I didn't upload the new one. Thought I did. Gotta fix that.
I'm so glad I don't have a drawing.
Come back
just
sometime,
wait,
maybe
Cassie.
you will.
Lauren writes really well with 4 fingers.
Oh,
Sorry,
just because.
Pull ours up again, Jess.
I fixed your color.
Oh,
Kory
thank God! I don't
said
look
it
like
wasn't
Bart
dark
Simpson's third cousin. He had me yellow. I had jaundice bad.
Jaws 3D.
All right, this one I actually saw in the theaters in 3D when I was about 4 or 5. Very cool in 1984 or 1983 to watch something in 3D for the first time. To watch anything in 3D at all. I'd never seen a 3D film, and that was very cool. However, when I got older, I realized how cheesy that one was, that whole movie was, and it wasn't as good. It wasn't near as good or as suspenseful as the first two.
But was the 3D good in the theater?
Oh yeah. Well, okay. First of all, remember I was like 4 or 5, so yes, to a 4 or 5-year-old, fucking fantastic. But you watch it now, and even the even at the end where the shark blows up and you see the part of its jaw fly up towards the screen, you're like, oh god, that's how cheesy that looks, and on the that's horrible.
It really has a hard time working when you're not, I guess, seeing it in 3D. I've never been able to.
Mm-hmm.
I still would rather see the Friday the 13th in 3D Part 3 before anything else. That's a goal in life. This one's not. If I get to, great. If I don't, I'll live. But
I actually sat down to watch this one, and I had bought the Blu-ray set with 2, 3, and 4 in it. So I went to sit down to watch Part 3, and my wife's sitting there with me, and she notices that, hey, Kory, this is in 3D. We should probably get 3D glasses. So I was like, fine. So I held off on watching it until we got those in. I sat down to watch it, and the glasses were really, really fucking with me. So it made it really hard to actually sit down and watch. But from what I could see of the movie and actually was able to pay attention to of the movie, I love the casting, and it's nice when there's actors that you know who they are in the movie. So having Dennis Quaid and Leah Thompson and who was the other one? There was a third one that I knew.
Lewis, was it Lewis Gossett?
Yeah,
Jr.?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, Iron Eagle.
I was trying to think of his name earlier.
Yeah, having those three in that movie made it a little easier to be able to watch. But this is easily
They couldn't
probably
save it.
the worst one of the 4. So, and without the glasses, and I did try to go back to watching it without them. Any 3D stuff just looked like really bad CGI. So,
Oh yeah.
Well, and it wasn't even them that I know of. I think the best thing to say about it is the story kind of had potential, an original idea being in a SeaWorld park. It just was not executed well at all. It was a big fail. The story was pretty boring. The effects are not great, especially without the 3D. Again, I can't really compare to its true 3D. I first watched this and saw only bits on TV when I was growing up. Never caught my interest. Finally rewatched it maybe in the last 15 years, all the way through. And when I did that, I was going to say, we were talking about ranking them earlier. My first instinct would be to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4. But I did rewatch 3 in Jaws Revenge recently, and that has changed. This, I agree, Kory, is probably the worst of the franchise.
Yeah. I concur.
I do want to point out too that another problem I had was, did they really need to bring back the 2 brothers? I mean,
Well, I mean, it does give you a tie to the originals. I just don't think they.
yeah, but I mean,
pulled off well.
you're getting into Die Hard territory. How much bad shit with sharks can one family deal with? I mean,
well, there's another thing. The shark in this one, it never seemed epic scale.
well, actually, when I think it's the third one, maybe it's the second one, where they no, it's the third one. They caught the shark. And I remember
It turns
looking
out
at
to be the baby shark.
yeah,
but
and I
still.
remember looking at my wife going, "That's a really small shark for this movie." And then, like, what?
But I
Not
think
even
even
5
the
minutes
adult
later,
one
you
was
find out.
really not, to me, Jaws proportions, not Bruce proportions.
I would like to point out that I think that would be a hell of a crossover. Call it, Die Shark, and have Bruce Willis in it. No?
One last hurrah.
Am I the only one? Come on.
I mean, I was more looking for a Amityville versus Amity Island, and they did that kinda, and it didn't work.
Jess, I was thinking the exact same thing earlier today. Actually, any town that has Amity, the word Amity in it, Amityville or just Amity, just keep on driving.
Just keep on driving, Don't stop, no matter how pretty it looks.
I don't care how inviting everything is or whatever. Nope, just keep going.
Exactly.
Wasn't there a house on, like, in the Amityville Island or Amity Island or whatever the hell it's called, that actually looks like the house from the Amityville horror?
Oh, probably, yes. I never watched it. I
probably.
couldn't watch it all the way through.
Just curious.
No, and supposedly, Amityville Horror is based on a true story. So I don't know. Again, keep driving if you see anything with Amity. That's all I'm saying. But as far as the third movie goes, Kory, you had mentioned about how the little kid Sean should have had issues for the rest of his life. They did address that a little bit in Jaws 3.
Boy,
where
she really twisted his arm to get him in the water.
Well, that goes back to the whole boobies thing.
It's Leah Thompson. She ain't got any.
My understanding is all guys want to see boobies. It doesn't matter what whose they are or whatever. You want to see all the boobies.
No, not at all.
That's just orc. Oh.
I'm an ass man myself,
I mean, those are nice too. I mean, I will have them all.
Not if Miss Channel has anything to do with it.
Oh, I mean, no. She's right. You're right. Anyway, Kory, Jaws 3. Did you say?
Anyways.
This is one. This and Revenge are two that it's been a while since I've seen, but I just remember, you were talking that it's got a good cast, but I really just don't care about any of the cast. It's like, it's one of those movies where it's like, maybe the shark will eat everybody. That'll be rewarding, I guess. But yeah, it's not great. I didn't really care for the SeaWorld setting. So I almost feel like, I was going to mention this on the next movie, but I almost feel like Revenge should have been the third one, as like a follow-up several years down the road or something. But that's about all I know. That one thing I will say, the last time I did see it, I think it was when it first came out on Blu-ray, and those effects, if you're not watching it, at least not watching it on 3D, are just awful. So
it is almost unwatchable in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, I said this earlier too, Sean. Dennis Quaid was not enough to save it.
He smiles too much.
Well, I think I read somewhere he said, I'm literally high on cocaine every shot of that movie.
Well, there you go.
Look it up. I could be wrong, but I feel like he was quoted saying that.
I think also that Friday the 13th, which was the experimental movie for using 3D for this movie, was an actual way better movie than this film. And I don't know, Revenge is pretty terrible, but I think I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you're still sticking with the 1, 2, this one over the next one.
Yeah, I know how to count kind of a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, should we last thoughts on 3 before we get on to 4?
It's hilarious how it keeps getting into SeaWorld. It's awesome.
I thought something new. I kind of like the theme park idea. It just was not executed well.
I don't think they could have done anything with that storyline or put any different actors in or anything to save that movie.
I do know one thing they could have taken out,
might be
and that's that damn Free Willy ending with the two dolphins jumping, and yeah.
Those were the only two characters I did care about.
No.
Cindy and Sandy, they were the shit, man. I mean, they weren't scared. They were like, no, you're not messing with our humans. You know, they were the heroes of the movie. Screw the rest. Screw the little grenade in the dead guy's hand.
They jumped to freedom and swam off, and then got captured by commercial fishermen down the road. So.
See, that's how it should have ended.
I want to play the Free Willy Michael Jackson song so bad right now, but then the video would get taken down.
Well, you can sing it a cappella, and we might have a chance. Do, 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 do. Jesse, you're the coolest host. You're right there with Kory. You are my friend. Okay.
All right, that's enough.
But you be there.
So we go from Free Willy to Jaws the Revenge. All right.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one. It kind of seemed like at some points they were trying to do like a supernatural thing where like the mom could like sense when the shark was near or something, and I don't know, but I liked it better than 3, but I'm not a huge fan of it. And I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at by Steak whenever he watches this. So,
you think?
Sorry, buddy.
Did he an advocate for this one?
Steak said something about 2 and 4 are the best ones. So,
well, I mean, I used to feel like this one got shit on more than 3 for many years, and I probably was part of that. And rewatching it, I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it for the first time. I'd probably seen it first
3
time on
times
VHS.
to watch, and I kept falling asleep.
Hated it. Yeah. Well, this time I don't know why. Maybe I was high or something. But Michael Caine was saving it for me. I was actually into the story this time. Yes, it was cheesy. Yes, we know sharks don't roar, but I was into it. I think probably after watching part 3 again, anything was going to be better.
I'm sorry, that was just...
It felt more like, wait a minute, what? Yeah, you should know a lot about sharks because they're... Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, it's okay. This sequel definitely felt more like a Jaws film than part 3. The look of it, we're back in Amity, right? Amity Island.
Yeah. Well, at least for...
Yeah.
Because somehow Sean ends up being Chief Brody. And that's how the whole story starts.
And Sean's brother, yeah.
Yeah,
Was it Sean?
And then
Sean
was the one. Sean became the chief, and he died.
Yeah,
and then Michael has changed careers. In the third one, he was an underwater construction guy, and now he's now some sort of marine life scientist or something. In the fourth one, complete change in careers. And he convinces the mom, which they didn't recast her, but they made her more so the focal point as far as everything goes, as far as the family goes. And I'm just like, in the first 2 movies, she was a secondary character. She really wasn't. I just didn't feel like she was prominent enough in the first two to have this whole fourth movie to be centered around her issues, so to speak.
No, but
and
it's
her
all they had
imagining
left
with
to
the
get
shark.
back from the original.
Yeah.
Who can we get back
Yeah.
in a part 4?
Oh yeah, exactly. But yeah, and Michael Caine is the one that really. He's the best one out of everybody. Yeah, his character. I mean, he's got some of the best lines in that movie. And frankly, I mean, that's about the only reason I really liked it. That and it was set in the Bahamas.
How the hell did he survive that? Like,
well, he wasn't
he's
taking the
in
role if he
between
did
the
survive. So.
he's in between the shark and the plane. How the hell does he escape that?
Because he's Michael Caine.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody wants to see him die because he's the funny guy who just kind of flies around whenever he wants to.
Yeah. And yes, even watching this recently, I damn near forget it takes place over Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that threw me off too. Was
Although
they're
I
in the
don't consider it a
Bahamas and they're
Christmas
singing
movie.
Christmas carols.
No, it's not a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
No. But Die Hard is. So anyway, Kory, Orc, who wants to go next?
I'll go real quick because I don't have much to say. It's been a really long time since I've seen this, and I even forgot Michael Caine was in the damn thing. So,
So is Mario Van Peebles.
yeah. I don't know. I really don't have much to say. I remember not really caring to revisit it much, so it's probably on par with 3 for me. You know, they're probably close to each other in craptitude. So I'll just say that.
If you're ever bored, or I think it might, if you don't own it, which you probably do anyway.
I have it, yeah.
Give it a shot again.
I'll give it a watch,
If you're itching for some Jaws, you watch the first one. Don't want to go through them all. Just skip to Revenge, and then, I mean, you'll still hate it.
I did want to say real quick before I forget. You know, I went and saw Nope yesterday at the IMAX, and Labor Day weekend, Jaws is coming to the IMAX. So I guess that's kind of nationwide. So
I might have to
if you
consider.
have one in your area, maybe check that out.
I'm so glad I live in the middle of nowhere. Yes. Fuck yeah.
I hear a hint of sarcasm in there.
Orc, you can always move to Iowa.
Yeah?
Yeah, Jess will put you up.
Des Moines. Yeah?
No, we're a bit far from that.
Yeah.
Sioux Falls.
Yeah, we're even further away from that.
Okay, well you're in that area, Souffle.
Souffle. We're in Iowa.
Near Nebraska. I don't know. I've been there.
No,
like
we're not near Nebraska.
Other side.
Other side. Okay.
You sail down the Mississippi, eventually you might run into us.
Okay.
We'll stick.
Don't
with
reveal
that.
where you live. Jeez. We're on the interwebs.
There's a lot of towns right along the Mississippi.
Do you live in Chicago?
We're
Chicago's on the other side of Illinois.
Well, it's still only about 3 hours.
Okay.
They can't find us.
Quad Cities, Iowa, Illinois. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Close enough.
All right. I'll take a Greyhound. Say what's up. We can all go to Applebee's.
We've got one.
Oh God, no, not Applebee's. No.
Chili's.
No.
Outback
I know
Steakhouse.
plenty of chefs in the area. We'll go to a good restaurant.
There we go.
All right, cool.
Well, Orc, you already said that this is your least favorite. You rank them 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but it's still entertaining. The game is pretty swagtastic as well. And it's kind of like the ending to the game is kind of like how this movie is, trying to kill the shark with the front of the boat. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Why did it blow up?
Spoiler alert. What?
Did I miss something? Why did the shark blow up?
Didn't they stuff it with explosives, or is that a different one? Or not stuff it, but got explosives inside of it.
No, there
I have
in the
no
third
fucking
one, the
idea.
dude had a hand grenade, and they had to pull the pin
That
with
might
a
be
hook.
what I'm thinking of.
But she
And,
like rams the shark with the boat, and it blows up.
I mean, and you've never heard of
pretty much
spontaneous combustion?
I'm trying to remember.
Somebody in the chat, help me out. Why does the shark blow up?
it just does.
Big T's
Big
got
T.
Michael Jackson stuck in his head.
Well, we can't talk about Jaws: The Revenge. And I will be there.
I get lonely sometimes.
I can't help it. On a darker note, we can't help but not mention Judith Barcy. She was the little girl. Am I still here? She was
you're here.
Ducky from Land Before Time. The girl from All Dogs Go to Heaven. She had a tragic ending to her life. Go look it up. I don't want to get into it here. But we had to mention her. So cheers.
I did not know that, Jess.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
final
So,
thoughts on Jaws: The Revenge.
It was all right. Like I said, it was better than 3. So I just how much bullshit can one family get from sharks? I mean, if you're that big of a shark magnet, move to the Midwest.
Really.
I've been there. I've been in Colorado before.
She blew it up because he had Michael Jackson stuck in his head.
Well, that's movie.
Hey,
that's
that's
logic. That's
yeah.
movie logic.
Do, 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 do.
To get to the other side. I got nothing else. My notes are done.
You guys are my friends.
All right. Just for our buddy.
Can't.
Just for our buddy Jake. I did try to watch Cruel Jaws. It wasn't happening. And somebody please tell me what the deal was with the second-rate Hulk Hogan in that movie.
It's not a Jaws movie. Let's quit trying to pretend.
It was every Jaws movie.
No.
From what I saw, yes, it was. It takes place in a park. Good
night, everybody.
It seemed like it was like every Jaws movie.
So I heard this recently. Apparently, that guy was on Raw one night playing Hulk Hogan, even
Really
in a skit. Yeah, I don't know when that was, but
he definitely looked like him. It's just without the muscles. He looked like you can't even say biker version of Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan himself is a biker. I don't know, like a bartender version of Hulk Hogan, I guess. He had the beer belly and I don't know. But anyway, I'm sorry. Since Jess isn't here, I'm going to pull this up here. Discount Ben Hulk Hogan is a legend. And he's dating Dollar Tree Liz Hurley. Thanks for the update there, Dan.
lucky guy.
That says Barry Balea. Jess, what are you doing?
I'm driving again. You know what? I will say this. This has been fun going through all the movies. I do think 3 is probably the worst one out of all of them. I would, however, like to see them try and do a 5th one.
Me too. Bruce Willis.
I have been wanting that for a few decades now, Cassie. And like I said, I thought, what was Deep Blue Sea? A little rewrite on that could have been a great Jaws 5. I mean, we were supposed to be past Jaws 19 by now.
Exactly. I mean, I mean, to be perfectly honest, if you think about it, I mean, and they could still continue with the family, because in that fourth movie, Michael had a little girl named Thea, and she could easily be a marine biologist or whatever, and
Cassie, leave that poor family alone. They've been through enough.
I like it. I think we have Jaws 5 here.
No. Get Bruce Willis back. Call it
He was
Die
never
Jaws,
in
and
Jaws.
you can kill off both
We don't get him
franchises
back.
in one movie.
Oh, God.
I just think it's so cool that on this show, Kory with a K is on the set of Candyman, the original.
It's actually the set of Jaws, or not Jaws, Saw. Saw, the other
Saw.
three-letter word.
The real
Saw.
scary part is that is not a green screen or a backdrop. That is
my actual
That is
basement.
at his house.
He should have been in a pool for this one.
Oh, you should see the floor in here. It's like all busted. It looks like there was an
A murder
earthquake
room?
in here. Yeah, that
Like a
too.
murder room.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a sink behind me.
That's
Over
sexy.
here.
Oh, wow, that's fucking dope.
There you
And
go.
that.
Awesome.
See here, got all this over here. Yeah, I'm sure there's
Can I
tons
move
of
in?
spiders crawling around above me. There might even be a couple of snakes down here. I don't know. I don't come down here often. But yeah. If anybody
There's
goes
a
missing
snake.
around this area, please do not come check my basement. I promise you they're not
That's
here.
it. Buffalo Bill's basement.
All I keep thinking now is it puts the lotion in the basket. Sorry.
Or it gets the corn again.
Oh,
There is no way, Blu-rays. No way you're staying down here.
the handcuffs and the black phone. Kory needs some lotion. Well, anyway, let's.
Okay.
I
On
want
that
some
note-
lotion.
That's for another stream
let's
at another time.
You
let's
are
go
my
around. What do we?
friend.
Woo!
Hey, Kory, give me some lotion.
Anytime, baby.
Stop it, or cute.
Yeah, you know it.
That's just ignorance. So what do we got?
Tyson,
What do
thank you so much for being on the show.
I was just gonna say thank you, Orc. What's going on? Anything on your channel? You've got a few songs you've sang recently, some dank memes and news.
When you drop in your album.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop my album probably, like later this year, maybe early 2023. A lot of productions going into it. A lot of waking up the neighbors because I'm so talented, skilled.
Well, we
Will
love
you be
your
able
voice.
to find his? Yes,
Thank you.
your link will be in the description below shortly. So
It better be, or else I'm suing.
okay, it's in your contract. I understand.
Yep. Thank you.
And S'mores Indoors, you've had a lot of great things happening on your channel.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know if I call him great, but just because you sleep through them work, you don't have to. You have to talk shit about them.
That's not
No.
fair.
Wednesday at 2 p.m. I'll be doing an interview with the indie horror star and somewhat adult entertainer, I guess, Jessa Flux. Be talking about her career. And Friday night will be doubleheader night again for tournaments. We'll have the greatest documentary of all time tournament, followed by greatest adult star all stars tournament. So always fun.
I'm interested in the documentary tournament for sure. I mean, it's all fun, but I was sorry I missed the elimination or not the elimination, but the nominee thing.
Yeah, I think we got a good range of documentaries in there. So
Hey, I appreciate it. You got Ken Burns' Civil War on there,
Mhm.
so I was.
But you left off Wrestling with Shadows. How could you do that?
there's a lot that missed the cut that I was shocked. Like Beyond the Mat, Paradise Lost. So I guess people were just waiting for someone else to nominate him, and it didn't happen. But
I thought Dan was going to be all over the wrestling stuff. So
yeah.
Well, that's great. And Cassie, thank you for coming on. Do you have anything you want to
Yes.
promote while you're on here?
No. Well, actually, no. Yes, actually, why don't I? So I measure for flooring for Lowe's. So anytime you guys need flooring, go to Lowe's, and I come down, I measure your house so you can get new floors.
All right, Lowe's, somebody needs a raise and possibly some sponsorship this way. So let's get that happening.
Yeah, because I get paid per appointment. So I'm an independent contractor.
There we go.
All
Bonus.
right,
Well, thank you all for coming. This has been
Yes.
fun.
thank you, Hork and Kory and Cassie. It's great to see you again. Haven't seen
Yes,
you in
you too.
quite a few
Anytime,
years.
guys.
So
And stay tuned to this channel. We'll have probably not much the rest of the month. Go vote for us for Horror YouTuber of the Month.
yes, create new accounts, vote twice.
No, do not do things that you shouldn't be doing.
Yes, do things you shouldn't do.
Next month, we'll have another Horror Rumble, of course, and hopefully something new before the summer's out on this channel. Maybe a new special of a script reading. I don't know.
We're working on stuff.
We're working on stuff.
Working on stuff. I promise.
And MJ, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. Your package will get out to you. We haven't
This is
forgotten.
the last time we use Vinegar Syndrome for our shipping.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. So with that, MJ, he was our winner for our 100 subscriber, our first year winner for the giveaway. He still hasn't received his stuff. We blame Vinegar Syndrome shipping. It will come soon, though. We'll resend it if we have to. And next month, Horror Rumble. Do we give it away or just make them wait?
Oh, we'll give it away. Let's go ahead and tell them.
It's August. So what major franchise have we not done yet?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh man.
So join us then. And anything else, stay tuned and check out all their channels and Lowe's Hardware.
Yeah.
All right.
Good night,
Gonna
everybody.
make a change for once in my